Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks so much for coming in to watch this video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a couple of the miners, obviously what happened with Bitcoin today as well. And we'll look at the miners for production updates for December. We have Bit Digital, Hive Digital. We also have Marathon Digital, Riot Platforms, and Sphere 3D as well. So chapters are going to be down below for you guys to skip to the sections that you want to see. And as always, you know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick on the day. So today was actually a pretty good day for Bitcoin. We were up quite nicely on the day. We were up approximately 3.1% on the day. We closed at 44,193. The miners obviously have done a little bit better than that for the most part. Some a little bit less, some a little bit more. But it was overall a pretty good day. So Annie was down today 4.98. Argo was up just 1%. Bit Digital was up 2.9%. BitDeer was flat on the day. Bitfarms was up 4.27%, Cypher up 6.6%, CleanSpark up only 1.8%, Cores was up 0.6%, DigiHost 0.4% up, DMG was up 2.25%, Greenidge up huge day 10% for no reason at all, Hive was up 1.1%, Hut 1.6%, Iris Energy up 3%, Marathon up 12%. We're going to talk about Marathon here in a little bit. They've obviously put out some really good numbers for December production, which is going to be really good to take a look at that. Mawson was up 14.3%. Again, really no news from them. It's just they're going up. Riot was up 5.4%. Soluna up 2.5%. Stronghold up 16.3%. Wolf up 1.8%. And then we got the ETFs down here, 5%, 3%, 3%, and almost 5% for BKCH. So overall, good day in the markets for Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners. And let's get into our stories here so we can dive through all this stuff and look at the charts and everything else that we have. Okay, so Bit Digital Inc. announces monthly production update for December 2023. This is going to be pretty quick and sweet here for them. You guys can read over all this stuff. I'm just going to go over the main things that I found here. So they produced 169.5 BTC, which is a 90% increase from the prior month, which is good. The company's active hash rate was approximately 2.52 exahash in December. And then treasury holdings of BTC were 642.6 and Ethereum were 17,399.3. You got the fair market values here respectively for all that. And then just going down here, let's see here, they do have proof of staking highlights. You guys can read that. We really don't track that. They do get some money for that, obviously. Bit Digital AI update. So we know that they have a contract for like 35 million a year with a customer, and they're building it out right now to support that customer. So here's an update on that. As of the date of this report, the company has received a total of 192 AI servers containing an aggregate of 1,536 NVIDIA HGX H100 GPUs from Supermicro Computer. 64 AI servers have been successfully installed at the data center in Iceland and are undergoing testing. The remaining servers are expected to arrive at the data center in the first half of January 2024. So that's good news there. So they are definitely progressing in that direction. And it'll be really interesting to see how they do with the AI part of their business as well. We do have other companies getting into it as well. Okay, but that's kind of all that we have here really from them. There's nothing else in here. Let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them, and we'll get into the next one. So Bit Digital has about 90.7 million shares outstanding. Stock price as of today was $3.84. Market cap $348 million. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been pretty good. Up 110% from 12 weeks ago, up 102% from 8 weeks ago, up only 19% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were up 8.46. So overall in the green, which is nice to see. Current hash rate 2.5 exahash. Future hash rate about 2.47, almost 2.5 exahash. So they do have just a little bit of growth left here. Actually, I'll look at that 2.5 and that 2.47. Something's amiss here. Let's take a look. What do we got here? We got 2.47 here, and I have a 2.5. Oh, I'm missing a number here. I'm supposed to get added here. So I think they are pretty much fully installed as it is right now. 2521, 2534. Future hash rate is based on which table here? It is based on that one. Okay. Yeah, so they're pretty much fully installed here. They have about 13 petahash left to install potentially. Okay, Bitcoin production here, up and down as we've seen with other miners as well. And then we've seen a nice uptick here in the last couple months since October. November was up to 142, and then obviously now December 169. Okay, BTC HODL is at 642.6. That's valued at about 28 million right now. Their HODL market cap is about 8% so far for them. You can see the monthly difference here of BTC mined. BTC HODL, how that's shaped up here throughout the year. It's lower than where they started last year with 947. They're at 643 right now. And it's been kind of up and down here. But they are starting to stack more as we get into closer to the halving event, which is good. BTC per exahash efficiency, I have them at 67.24, which has been improving here for them as we've seen the BTC transaction fees being added to the rewards. That's helping out a lot of the miners here as well. You can see how much they've been selling each month here throughout the past 13 months. Hash rate, you can see that the hash rate growth as well, how has shaped up right now. Monthly Bitcoin revenue, obviously huge increases here in the last 2 months. November 5.2 million, December 7.2 million. So that's definitely going to be a lot for them. I mean, that revenue is pretty much what they had in like a couple of months here, like 2 months here, roughly would have been the equivalent of 1 month in December so far. So that's pretty good. Month over month hash rate difference, increases in that. BTC sold value, how much they're selling in dollar cents. That's for quarters revenue. We're estimating right now for Q4 for them to be about 15.7 million. That is a nice uptick from where they were. And then we talk about the other metrics here for the quarterly results when they provide those as well. As far as institutions and analysts, those have actually went down a little bit here, 134 from 135, but we did get more shares. So 35.7 million compared to 34.9 million. And that obviously increased their percentage to 39.3 being owned by institutions. And we did also get 1 strong buy rating for them, where before we had 3 buy ratings. So now we have 2 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sell. And price targets actually have improved for them to $7.70 for the high, to $5.73 for the average, and $4.50 for the low on that one. Now, as far as their operational side of things, how do they operate in December? Based on what I could gather here, it looks like they were operating for about 31 days, plus on average the 20 days on for the new miners being installed and operating there. Plus, I had to add about 1.8 million here in BTC additional transaction fees to get us to the 7.21 million, based on the Bitcoin average price for December, and plus what they actually mined here, stated being mined. So that was a nice improvement for them. Okay, looking at something else here, we can see that the balance sheet is pretty good. Total current liabilities, total current assets are all good. And then looking at my numbers here, we're looking at the last 3 quarters plus the current quarter we just finished, which was Q4, and then taking that at 50% net income and 75% net income. And we're getting a P of 10 for them because there's not much growth left to them. So I'm between $2.46 to $3.69. They're currently at $3.84. I think when you look at the analysts here, they're taking into account also the revenue from the AI part of the business, which is obviously new. I'm not including that in here. If we include that in there, then yeah, they could possibly be that. If we look forward to the next 12 months, so 3 months before the halving event, and then the 9 months after the halving event at 50%, we got them at $2.98 to $4.47. So it's kind of on the lower side of where I have them. If we increase our PE here, we could see that they could possibly get up there. If we increase it to 20 because of the AI part of things, then they would be undervalued here, and that would be like $7, pretty close to what they're valuing them at. So that might be the reason there. But the reason I'm valuing here is mainly because the PE of 10 is not a lot of growth left. They're pretty much fully installed right now. Okay, so that's it for them. Balance sheet is good and healthy, so there's no complaints there. The only thing is, I'd like to see them grow more into the Bitcoin mining side of things for self-mining. And then it's definitely interesting with the AI stuff that they're doing here and some of the Ethereum that they're staking as well. That's kind of interesting. So it should be a pretty good quarter for them in Q4 of last year, obviously 2023. Okay, so that's it for them. That's all I got. Let me know what you guys think of them. If you have any questions, hit me down in the comments down below. Next, Hive Digital here. So Hive Digital increases HODL position and provides December 2023 production and corporate update. And here's what we have from them. We'll go down here. The company's HODL position at the end of December 2023 was 1,707 BTC. This is nice to see that they are including this again. And that is an improvement of 80 BTC higher from the prior month. So that's good there. But the good thing is that they are including this, because there were a couple of months where they weren't including this, and we were kind of like, why aren't you guys including this? You've been including this for the last 12, 14 months, whatever it's been, and all of a sudden you stop providing it. If the HODL is getting low, okay, well, let us know that, right? I think investors can handle that, and we know why. So they appointed appointment of COO and CIO. You can read about that. Here we go. December 2023 production figures. So 273.5 BTC produced from ASICs, 4.08 exahash of BTC month-end hash rate, and this was based on 4.05 of A6 BTC hash rate, and then 0.03 exahash of GPU BTC hash rate equivalent, basically, for that part of it. And New Brunswick facility update. The New Brunswick facility is currently operating at 1.8 exahash, while the substation is undergoing final maintenance. The full potential for the facility, which is expected to resume operations in January 2024, should return to 2 exahash. So, I mean, that's pretty close to where they are. The company notes that prior to maintenance, the peak operating total global hash rate was 4.3 exahash. So they actually went down a little bit here on their hash rate this month because of that, potentially. Okay, let's see. I think that is it. Nope, here we go. There's a little side note here, or a little, I guess, preparedness phrase from Hive. Hive will self-curtail part of its operations if the unhedged spot energy prices are uneconomical, thereby leaving part of its total gross hash rate unutilized. So it seems like they're seeing maybe higher electrical prices in some regions. They didn't specify where, but you can obviously read the upper part of it as well. But it looks like they're preparing investors that they might be curtailing some at some parts of their facilities, depending where they're located. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's take a look at my numbers here for them, and we'll get into the next one. So Hive has about 86 million shares outstanding right now. Stock price is at $4.35. Market cap $375 million. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been mediocre, I guess you'd say. Right, some of the other miners have done a lot better. They're up 58% from 12 weeks ago, 44% up from 8 weeks ago, 7%, almost 8% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were actually down 11% on that week. Current hash rate 4.05 exahash, future hash rate 6.9, almost 7. So they do have some growth left in them, which is nice to see. Their current HODL of 1,707 BTC is valued at 75 million. And looking at their production here, the BTC HODL is valued, or the HODL to market cap ratio is 20% on that. And each share has 87 cents of HODL value, basically. BTC production here, you can see, has been kind of up and down and all over the place. And May was their best month with 304 Bitcoin. They bottomed out, it looks like, in June right after that at 259. Last December, they were 213. This December, they're up to 282, so at least they increased from last December, which is good to see there. Month-over-month BTC mine difference, basically. How did that go from month to month? BTC HODL, you can see here, has been coming down as they have been buying newer miners to replace some of the older miners. So I'm okay with that as long as they're updating their fleet and getting more efficient miners, so that's fine there. They still have a pretty good HODL here, 1.7 thousand on that. BTC per exahash efficiency came in at 69.68. I would have thought they would have came in a little bit better than that for the month, but given that they were down for part of it at one of their facilities a little bit for maintenance, that's understandable that they are there. I would have thought they would have been at least above 70, like we've seen some of the miners get to there. Monthly BTC sold value, here's what they sold, how many Bitcoins they sold. Their total petahash or exahash, I calculate petahash here, but it's basically down to 4.05. They reached 4.17 or almost 4.18, and they stated why it was down. It was down because of that facility, but they have had steady growth here throughout the year, which is good to see as well. Then monthly mining revenue up to 12.03 million now, which is good compared to the November 10.1 million that we've seen. And with Bitcoin going up in value, it's going to help all the other miners go up as well. And then if the Bitcoin transaction fees continue, well, that's going to help even more for all the miners as well. Okay, hash rate growth month over month, BTC sold value, how much they've been selling each month. And then the last 4 quarters revenue, we can see that the current quarter estimate is about 30 million for self-mining, which is going to be a nice increase from where they were. Okay, and you can see the other numbers here as well. You can see that they have a healthy balance sheet, so there was really no problems with that. Now, institutions and analyst ratings, I have them at right now 109 institutions, so that's an increase of 1. Shares also increased to 16 million from 15.3 million. Percentage actually went down to 17.3. I'm guessing that's going to be from dilution. And then we still have 2 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperform, 0 sell. Price target $6, high, the average at $4.75 and the low at $3.50. So that stayed the same here. And then as far as operational side of things, here's what we got going on here. We got them running pretty much 31 days out of the month here, and they got about 1.78 billion in BTC transaction fees. That gave us a 12.03 million in revenue, which is what we wanted, which all works out well. We did take out some miners here that were probably part of that facility that was being under maintenance. Those will probably get back added in along with these miners here as well. Okay, so you can see here they do have some older miners, the 90 terahash miners, 98, and then they got some 96 as well. Those are probably the ones that they're going to be swapping out the most, or probably as quickly as they can, I would imagine. You want to do that, especially since they're getting all of these miners down here that still have to be basically coming in the first half of this year. And then that'll get them to almost 7 exahash here. I have 6.9 right now. Okay, now looking at my numbers here as far as where I have them kind of priced at, I'm between $5.44 to $8.16. They're at $4.35. I think they're slightly undervalued here, not by much, but definitely undervalued, and it kind of coincides with what we're seeing here a little bit with, on the higher side at least, from the analyst at $6. Okay, so that's it. other than that, the balance sheet is good. They're doing the right things, growing. They also are getting into AI. We'll see how well they can, develop that, how many clients they can get on that, and it can be another profitable side of the business here. So definitely very interesting here with the change up that we're seeing. Some of the miners getting into AI and other things as well to kind of, I guess have what's the word I'm looking for on this one? More balanced approach to it all. Instead of being on Bitcoin, trying to get other revenue streams that are going to be a little bit more consistent, I guess. Then with Bitcoin, you have these big peaks and valleys, and when Bitcoin's going in the bull run, they do really well. When Bitcoin's coming down in the bear market, they're doing pretty bad. So I think they want to just make that a little bit more of a consistent revenue stream for them. Okay, but that's it for that one. Let me know what you guys think. And then let's get into here Marathon Digital. So Marathon Digital Holdings announces Bitcoin production and mining operation updates for December 2023. Based on my early this would be early estimates and analysis, they're going to come out being the number one here for the month of December as far as operations are concerned. And that includes on things like per exahash efficiency, I believe, on obviously Bitcoin mined, hash rate, all of that stuff. They're just the top dog right now in the space. So if they can continue doing that going forward, they're going to be, possibly the top miner here going forward for a couple months or until we maybe hit the summer months where they curtail a bit more because of their locations and where their miners are at. But right now, they're looking really, really good. Okay, so let's get into some of the data that we do have here. Here's a quote from Fred Thiel. We continue to target 30% growth in energized hash rate in 2024, and with recently announced acquisition of 2 sites from Generate Capital, which is expected to close in January 2024, we expect to reach 50 exahash in the next 18 to 24 months. So basically sometime in 2025. And that might be right around the peak of Bitcoin bull run, which usually peaks right around, 12 to 16 months after the halving event, right? So halving events in April. So we're kind of looking right around that time was when they might be peaking as well. So it might be pretty good timing. Outside the U.S., progress continued in Abu Dhabi, where we now have 2.7 exahash online. The remaining 4.4 exahash are still expected to be online in January of 2024, so this year. They'll give them a nice bump. They do own 20% of that joint venture there. Paraguay also continued to energize, reaching 0.3 exahash with 2,110 miners now online. We continue to expect the 1.1 exahash to be online by early Q2 of 2024. On this one, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they own like 60 or 80% of that joint venture. I'll have to look this up, but hit me up in the comments down below if you guys know for sure, or at least give me send a link as far as where I could find that information, but I'll have to dig it up again. So whatever they mine for Paraguay, I believe they're going to be able to report that as revenue, whereas Abu Dhabi would have to be reported as assets. Okay, let's see here. Here's another quote. Significantly higher transaction fees helped December's Bitcoin production grow much faster than average operational hash rate. For the month, Marapool collected more than 380 BTC in transaction fees, or 22% of Bitcoin production, up from 12% of production last month. So that is correct. We're seeing that in some of the other miners as well, where they're getting about 20% additional from BTC transaction fees. We'll look at the number here in a little bit when we look at the charts that I have, but 380 is going to play a part in that a little bit. Okay. So here's what we have. Bitcoin mined is 1,853, and that includes the joint ventures as well. So going forward, it looks like Marathon's going to be providing all the numbers for the self-mining and the joint ventures, which is kind of frustrating because I would like to see that broken out. What have they mined for the self-mining, and what are they actually getting from the joint ventures? But what we will use is the Marapool here. That's loading right now. And we got them. We can track actually what they have mined here in the month of December. And I counted, pulling all the data out of here, and I counted 1,800 BTC. And that's been also corroborated with other people. So they're getting the same amount. So 53 BTC were basically from joint ventures, right? I don't know which ones. Obviously, the Paraguay one is still pretty small. So it's not going to make a huge impact there. So we're just going to use 1,800 BTC for the month of December for the self-mining portion of it all. Okay, energized hash rate is now at 24.7 exahash, which is great. And then in December, approximately, I think this is an error here. In December, approximately 8,900 of Marathon's Bitcoin miners, and then C, 0.7 exahash, so they're saying basically 700 petahash, were energized at Applied Digital's facility in Garden City, Texas. That to me would seem like they installed miners that are less than 100 terahash, right? Because if you have at least 100 terahash miners, you should be at 890 petahash, not 700 petahash or 0.7 exahash. So I think there's a typo there or a mistake somewhere in there. I just don't know which is it, whether it's the 8,900 miners or the 700 exahash on that one, because that doesn't make any sense there. I don't know why they would be energizing miners that are less than 100 terahash, which they don't have anything like that in their fleet. Okay, going down here, let's see if there's anything else. Total BTC holdings, 15,174. Nice increase, obviously, from what we've seen here. So that was good. And going down here. So here's where they're kind of saying, beginning December 2023, the company's production reports now include the proportional share of international joint ventures, except where noted, prior to December 2023, certain operating metrics, including hash rate, energized miners, and fleet efficiency, were US only and did not yet include joint ventures. And I wish they would continue to do that, because that is very, very misleading, I believe, right? If you're getting joint ventures and you're less than 50% on that, you can't report that as revenue. You have to report that as assets. Yes, you're still getting that, but it's not reported as revenue. So, and then just messes up everything here that we do normally. So hopefully we'll be able to get some kind of a standard across with all these miners to report joint ventures separately, self-mining what they get separately as well. But we'll see if we can get that done. It's going to be a tough battle, I think, with some of these guys. Okay, but I think that's all that we have here. So obviously a great month for them. And let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for them. So Marathon has 222 million shares outstanding right now. Stock price is at $26.27. Market cap at 5.8 billion as it is. So definitely the top miner in the space right now. Let's see what else we have here. Performance-wise, really good performance over the last 12 weeks. Really great performance. They're up 200% from 12 weeks ago, up 144% from 8 weeks ago. They're up 40% from 4 weeks ago. And then last week was actually a down week for a lot of the miners. They were down 12% on that week. So overall, it was really good. Total current hash rate, 224 exahash. Future hash rate, 30 exahash. And hash rate left, about 5.6 exahash or so. They said they want to get to that. I think did I miss that part? I think they stated it somewhere. Where did they state there? I think we talked about it here. Or did I miss it? Let's see here. Let me see. Nope. They didn't state it. Okay, it was Riot that stated in their numbers here. Okay, yep. Okay, so it was Riot that provided those numbers. Okay, so never mind there. They should get to 30 exahash, I believe, within the next half a year or so, if not earlier, on that one. We'll have to see when that comes through. Okay, Bitcoin HODL is 15,174. That's valued at 667 million. They're roughly, on the balance sheet at least, they have about close to $1 billion with cash and other things like that. So really healthy balance sheet there. And then you can see their BTC production here has been kind of up and down, but mostly going in the upwards direction here. They only mined in November 1,151. A huge increase, obviously, in December for them. They increased their hash rate. They also got more transaction fees from Bitcoin, which helped them out greatly, as did other miners as well. So that obviously worked out really well. Month over month difference here, you can see that they mined 649 more Bitcoin here. Last time that they got that close was May. Obviously, in May, we saw huge transaction fees as well. And then their BTC HODL here has continued to increase here pretty much month after month. We had a couple months here where it was a dip a little bit. In October, it dipped a little bit here. And then also in January of last year, it dipped a little bit as well. But they're up to, they're up to 15,174 Bitcoin right now. BTC per exahash efficiency, really good, 73. That is right now the best number that I've seen out of any of these miners. And largely it's due to the transaction fees being added into it, but those are being added to the other miners as well. So it looks like they curtailed a heck of a lot less in December. We've seen some of the days on Marapool where they did mine only 1 or 2 blocks or something like that, where they were possibly curtailing a little bit. But because of all the transaction fees being added to it all, it's really difficult to calculate exactly where they are at. So we're just using the Bitcoin reported that for all the miners, including the transaction fees in there, what their hash rate was and things like that. They're going to come out on top, but I believe without any problems here. I don't see anybody else getting that close right now. So that's going to help them out greatly. In the metrics that we do for the miners on a monthly basis, you can see how much they've been selling here. They started selling in January of last year, actually, or before they were doing pretty much in 2022, they were doing like a full HODL, which was kind of aggravating because they were diluting shareholders at that time and everything else. They had cash, but still they were doing quite a bit. But now and Fred has even said this, that a 50% probably ratio as far as HODL and selling is probably a good overall metric, or not metric, not really a metric, but operational thing for them and for the other miners as well. And I agree. I think that somewhere around there is really good to do that. Okay, so there's that hash rate growth. You can see their hash rate from last December. They were at 7 exahash. Now they're up to 24. So basically a 3x increase in hash rate growth, which is fantastic. They were supposed to be at 23 exahash really 12 months ago, right? But they had problems with the hosting sites and things like that that just got pushed out basically a year out. But nonetheless, the timing is actually pretty good right now because we are getting into the bull run. So this is helping them on that part. Revenue-wise, check this out. 76.58 million, almost double from where it was in November, 42 million here. So huge increase there. Nicely done. Hash rate difference month over month. BTC sold value, how much they sold each month. You can take a look at that. And then last 4 quarters revenue here. You can see here how that revenue has been increasing as their hash rate has been increasing as well. And now we got them estimated at approximately 153 million in the current quarter that just ended in Q4. Going down here, we can see here that the balance sheet is healthy as heck. Nothing to really complain about there. Institutions did decrease a little bit here to 337, but shares actually increased slightly to 85.59 million from 85.5 million. And then percentage went up to 38.54 from 38.5. We still have 1 strong buy rating, 2 buy ratings, 6 hold ratings, 1 underperform ratings, and 0 sell ratings. So price targets did get bumped up though to $24 for the high, average to $12.88, and the low to $8.50. Okay, and then going down here as far as the miners side of things here, we can see here that we will get over here. So all the miners that were installed, even the new ones that got installed in December, I had those running basically at 31 days for everything here, and I still had to add basically 16.8 million in extra BTC transaction fees being added to it, right? If you take that out, the 16, they would have been at roughly 50 million in revenue at that point, right? But so would have everybody else. Remember they reported 380 Bitcoin being part of that. That translates to about 16.1 million here in addition. So that's pretty close to that. They might have gotten a couple more, what's the word I'm looking for? Blocks, rewards, right? What's the best way to explain this? With the block rewards, it's dependent on the miner that finds that block, that hash. And that's based mostly on luck for the most part. Obviously, the more hash rate that you have, the more chances that you have of getting that. And Marathon being at 24 exahash, they have a lot more chances of getting extra blocks than somebody else does, okay? So that could contribute to it as well. But this is really good. This is like the first time I've had them at 31 days here, operational. Even last month, they were at 27 days. And even then, I couldn't even add any transaction fees to it. So definitely a lot better uptime here in December. You can see October was pretty close, 29.2 days. They were in September 28, 24 days in August. July was 26 days. So you can see that they do curtail. And that's mainly because they're located in Texas. So if it gets hot, they have to curtail because electricity is needed someplace else. Okay, it's understandable, but obviously that affects their numbers when we look at the metric side of things. Okay, so that's that part of it. And then going down here or up here, I have in between $17.27 to $25.90. They're at $26.27. This shows me that they would be undervalued. But the way that they're growing, and depending on if we get the continuation of the transaction fees and everything else, if we look forward to the next 12 months, the 3 months before the halving event, and then the 9 months after at 50%, I have them at $25.80 to $38.70, meaning that they would be kind of fairly valued to slightly undervalued even at that point, right? And that's really using a PE of 20. Now, we've seen Marathon, Riot, and others during the last bull run get PE ratios much higher, around 35, 40, even above that a little bit. So there's still plenty of room for this to go up, and depending where Bitcoin goes up, they could definitely do a lot better. Okay, so that's it. So first of all, this is definitely one of the best months that they've had here as far as operational side of things that we've seen in a long time from them, which is really great to see. And congrats to them. Nice job. They're definitely without any, well, that's what I'm looking for. Without any other miners coming in and beating them, I think they're going to be the #1 miner here for December here for all the metrics that we cover. So congrats to them. Congrats to the Mara Pig family and all those guys out there. This is a fantastic month for December. So very well done. Okay. All right, let's get into the next one here. And what do we got? We got Riot here. So Riot announces December 2023 production update and operations update. And here's what we got. There's some concern here with Riot. Not sure what the heck is going on with them, but we'll try to explain it as best we can here. So Bitcoin produced was 619 here. Bitcoin held 7,362. So that's a slight increase from where they were in November, 7,342, sorry. Okay. Going down here, deployed hash rate is still at 12.4. Power credits, 0. They got 0 for it. And demand response credits, they only got 500,000 for that. Okay. Now remember those things, because when we look at the actual numbers that they got, the 619, I think they should have been closer to probably 800 or so Bitcoin for the month if they were operating at the full potential there. We saw Marathon get pretty much full month of operations out of Texas and everything else. I'm surprised that they can't do it, right? Why are they curtailing, especially if they're only getting 5 million or 500,000 in response credits? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Do they not have enough power there in that area that they're at? I think there's another facility next door to them, BitDeer. Are those two guys not able to get enough juice to run the miners? What's going on there? That's the kind of question that I have there. Let's take a look down here. Here's a quote. So Riot is well positioned to execute on our plan to increase our self-mining hash rate to 28 exahash by the end of 2024. So they're 12 right now. That would be basically a double from where they are right now, and that would be good if they can get there. And they do have a plan for it. So during December, the foundation was poured for the first building at Corsicana facility. Building A1 and the structure is in process of being erected. Building A1 is expected to be energized by the end of Q1 2024, so that would be good there. And then here they provide their actual estimated hash rate growth. So deployment of these miners is expected to begin in Q1 of 2024 and to be completed by the second half of 2025. Upon full deployment in 2025, Riot anticipates a total self-mining hash rate capacity of 38 exahash. So they're going to be pretty close to where Marathon's going to be at as well. Marathon said that they were going to get to 30. What did they say? I don't think they said it. Did they say it? But let's take a look. Marathon, let's see here, joint ventures, where was it? Did they not state it? I got too many miners that I'm tracking here. I'm trying to keep it all in my head. Sometimes that's not the best thing, so I have to look back on things. 18 to 24 months, generating, we expect to reach 50 exahash in the next 18 to 24 months. So basically 50 exahash by the end of 2025. They're saying, Riot's saying that they're going to be at 38 exahash. Deployed in 2025, second half. So right around that same time. So Marathon's going to be at 50, they're going to be at 38. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. That is it for that. Okay. So remember this part here where they said 619 Bitcoin, right? Let's take a look at Riot here really quick while we are on this. And I just want to point something out. So 619 is what they got. Take a look at CleanSpark. Riot is at 12.4 exahash. CleanSpark is at 10 exahash, right? And they mined 720 Bitcoins. So that's why I'm saying Riot should have mined around 800 or so Bitcoin compared to what they actually got, which was 619. So that's basically 200 Bitcoins more, right? If we use the average price of Bitcoin at December, which was right around, what was that? 35, let me see here. What was Bitcoin here? What do we use for Bitcoin in December? 42.5. Okay, so let's just use that. 42.5 for them. And that's 200 Bitcoins there. If we take 200 Bitcoins times 42.5, what do we get on my calculator? 200 times 42,500. We get 8.5 million. So they could have generated 8.5 million more had they been able to run for the full month instead of curtailing for some reason, or they just don't have enough power. I just don't know. It's a little bit of a mystery there on that one. But they're definitely missing out. And we understand that during the summer months or in the winter months, sometimes they would curtail, but they seem to curtail throughout the year now, it seems like. Okay, so that's one of the things I want to get out there right now. Okay, now looking at their metrics here. So shares outstanding is right now at 206 million. They have a stock price of 1586, market cap at 3.2 billion. Their performance over the last 12 weeks is mediocre, I guess you could say. They're only up 69% from 12 weeks ago. They're up 49% from 8 weeks ago. They're down 2.3% from 4 weeks ago, and they're down 12.9% from 1 week ago. So they haven't really performed as well as some of the other miners have. And one of my thoughts was maybe it's because of their aggressive growth that they want to have. Are investors fearful that they're going to be diluting to do that? And that could be the reason for it. Or it could be that investors are also seeing that they're not operating nowhere near where they possibly should be. So is there a reason for it? And we're just not knowing what that reason is. Okay, so current hash rate 12.4, future hash rate 38. They have a bunch of growth left still in them, which is great. Their HODL's at 7,362, valued at 323 million, so that's good there. And then you can see here that their production, as far as BTC, they peaked, it looks like January of last year at 740 Bitcoin, and they've been kind of slowly trending downwards. You can see in August how much they curtail. August, they also got like 30 some odd million in power credits and curtailment credits and things like that. So, okay, that kind of makes sense there. But when you're in December, it's a chillier month. You shouldn't be needing to curtail as much as they have here. And we'll take a look at how much that actually worked out to be as far as days being mined. Okay. What else? Month over month difference. You can see that BTC HODL has been increasing, which is good continually. BTC per access efficiency has been improving here a little bit here as we get into the colder months. They're having to curtail less. They're at 49, which is still far lower than some of the other miners. Bitcoin sold here. You can see how much they've been selling. And then their hash rate growth has been pretty consistent here throughout the year. They were at 9.7 from December through February. They went up to 10.5 in March, stayed there through May and June. They increased that to 10.7, stayed there through September. And we had a little bit bump increase in October and November, and we're flat in December again. Okay, revenue-wise, revenue has been increasing, which is good, and that's mainly because Bitcoin's going up. The transaction fees are also added to that. So they're at 26.3 million, which is good. Hash rate, month-over-month difference. BTC sold value, you can see that they sold about 25.5 million here in December worth. And then their last 4 quarters revenue, self-mining part of it has been up and down, right? And they're back up a little bit here in Q4 to 60 million, which is obviously the best that they've had in the last 4 quarters that we're seeing here. Okay. Going down here, balance sheet is healthy, no problems there. Institutions here, 357 institutions, so that's the same shares, 83.8 million from 83.5, so a slight increase there. Percentage owned also to 40.6 million, sorry, 40.6% from 48.5. And then we still have the same strong buy ratings of 4, buy ratings of 7, 1 hold, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target's still the same, 22.50 for the high, 17.79 for the average, and $11 for the low. Okay. Now going down here to what they actually mined here in December. I have them at 27.15 days. And as you know, some of the miners are seeing 20% increase in BTC mined because of the transaction fees. So if you take out 20% of that, they were operating at like maybe 22 days or something. Again, that's a lot of curtailment in that. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. But that got us to the 26.3 million, which is what they stated, or at least what we figured out. And that got us, you can see here in October, they were 18 days operational, right? They also were, well, 22 days only in November, and we had some Bitcoin transaction fees in there as well. We didn't add anything to that. So they curtailed more than they actually probably should have. September was 14.9. August, they were only operating for 13 days, but they also got 30 million in power cuts, so that kind of worked out for them. But you can see that there's just a lot of curtailment going on there for them. So I'd like to get an explanation from Marathon or from Riot on what the heck is going on there. Why can they not run, especially during the cooler months, closer to peak potential here? So that's it on that one. Okay, going on to my numbers here. I'm in between $9.15 to $13.73. They're currently at $15.86, kind of overvalued, but if we look at going forward as well, their actually numbers are up a little bit higher than that. So 3 months before the halving event, 9 months after the halving event, we're looking at $9.56 to $14.35. And that would seem like they are still a little bit overvalued. And I don't know. I mean, the power credits do help, so I think they could possibly get a little bit more for that. So even if we increase them to maybe 25 PE or 30 PE, right? At 30 PE, they still seem like they're fairly valued at where they are right now based on their current operations. So it just all depends on when those power credits get applied to which month and everything else, which is kind of hard to figure out because we just don't have the books on it. Okay, but that's kind of what I'm looking at. Let me know what you guys think of them, and we'll see if we can maybe get some answers from them going forward as well. Okay, but that's it. So that's Riot Blockchain in a nutshell. And then let's get into our last one here, which is going to be Sphere 3D. Sphere 3D Corporation provides December 2023 production and operations update. It's going to be pretty short and sweet here. So 73.5 Bitcoin mined in December. Month-end operation hash rate was 1.3, so they're pretty much stuck there the last couple, I think almost half a year or something like that. But we'll take a look at it. Uptime was 77% due to issues at our hosting partner's Missouri site. So that's one of the things that is unfortunate when that happens, especially when Bitcoin's doing really well. You got these Bitcoin transaction fees also helping out tremendously. It would have been nice to be able to run that because you're going to generate a heck of a lot more. So that is unfortunate there. And excuse my pause there. I had to take a sip of my tea. Let me see if there's anything interesting here. Nope. Down below here is a little bit interesting. So this number 1 here, so the metrics include Sphere 3D assets temporarily, I can never pronounce this word, custodied by Gryphon related to the termination master service agreement. So Gryphon has portion of that, I guess. And they do have an update here for Core Scientific as well. On December 31st, or on December 21st, Sphere agreed to terms outlining a settlement with Core Scientific and its debtor affiliates, subject to the approval of the United States Bankruptcy Court of Southern District of Texas, okay? Here are the terms right now. An allowed general unsecured claim in the amount of $10 million. Treatment afforded to general unsecured claims in the Core Scientific Bankruptcy Plan of Reorganization. Mutual release of claims and causes of action between Core Scientific and Sphere 3D. And it goes on to here state that they will get this. Terms of settlement expressly does not waive any claims Sphere 3D has against Gryphon. Let me see here. Here it is. The plan currently contemplates the general unsecured creditors such as Sphere 3D will receive equity of reorganized Core Scientific, which equity is expected to freely trade after the effective date of the plan. So basically they get shares and then they can trade it afterwards. And that one. And then there's a Gryphon update as well. In November 2023, Gryphon indicated through its counsel that upon receipt of certain information, it would be remitting outstanding proceeds, less fees and expenses generated under the MSA that Sphere 3D asserts is currently held by Gryphon on behalf of Sphere 3D, which Cypher 3D believes amounts to approximately 21.6 Bitcoin or 919,000 at December 31st. Before factoring in fees and expenses, Sphere believes that Gryphon has received the information mentioned in the prior sentence. Gryphon, however, has yet to return the funds. Sphere 3D hopes that Gryphon will remit the proceeds soon, but Sphere 3D is exploring its regulatory and legal options. So I wonder what those expenses are going to be. 800,000 and they get 100,000? Who knows? But we'll see what happens there, okay? So just quick updates on that. Let's take a look at Sphere really quick here. All right. So Sphere has 14.3 million shares outstanding, stock price at $2.86, market cap at 41 million. Performance has been really good here over the last 12 weeks, up 187% from 12 weeks ago, up 238% from 8 weeks ago, up 115% from 4 weeks ago, and 13% last week. All right, they're one of the smaller miners here. It seems like in the last couple of weeks, we've seen some of the smaller microcap miners that haven't done as well compared to some of the other miners here in the past year get a big ramp up in price here. I think people are just looking for deals, bargains, basically. One stocks that haven't done that well in the mining space. Okay. Current hash rate 1.3, future hash rate 1.8, HODL is 41.2, valued at 1.8. Bitcoins here, you can see that they peaked in production in May with 77.7. They went back down through August to 58, and then since then have been increasing that a little bit, and that's helping with the Bitcoin transaction fees for them as well. You can see the month-over-month difference. BTC HODL, the HODL has, basically the low was on August. They had 3 there, and then they've slowly started to build that back up a little bit here. BTC per hash efficiency has been coming down as well. They have been increasing here over the last couple of months to 56.54. BTC sold here, hash rate, as you can see, has been flat at 1.3 exahash for the last 5 months here. And their BTC mined revenue has been increasing with the help of Bitcoin going up in value and the Bitcoin transaction fees as well to 3.13 million. Excuse me. Hash rate difference over month, BTC sold value, how much they sold. And then the last 4 quarters revenue plus the current quarter that we're in, or finished in Q4. That's going to be at 7.8 million here. So that is a nice increase here for them as well. Let's see what else we have here. Balance sheet side of things. Balance sheet is A-okay. It's not too bad. They have 6.69 million in debt or current liabilities, and then 5.23 million in total current assets as of right now. So it's not too bad there. Institutions and analyst ratings, that actually decreased to 18. And the shares did decrease here a little bit also to 125,550. Percentage still stay the same here. And we now actually have a buy rating for them. One single one. Price target at $5, average $5, and low of $5 as well. And for their operational side of things, what did they operate on December for their miners here? I have them at 30.75 days roughly. And that's mainly because they were down for that one facility, which they noted. But by that, I did not have any transaction fees being included in here. So they were probably down for more than that. You could say maybe a couple more days out of this, possibly. So maybe around 27, 28 days in operation. That got us to 3.127 million, which is what we wanted. And then looking at my numbers here, I'm between $3.55 to $5.33 with a PE of 5. PE of 5 because there's really not much growth there left. They do have 500 petahash to increase, but that's about it going forward. And if we look forward into the next 12 months, 3 months before the halving event and the 9 months after at 50%. We got them at $4.08 to $6.13. But the reason they're kind of at where they are right now at $2.86 is because of, well, the lack of growth, I think. And that's possibly what's just keeping them down, I think, right? Otherwise, they should be higher than that. But who knows? We'll see. So that's it for that one. They definitely need to grow, like some of the other smaller miners that we do have here. Because if they don't grow going forward, the only thing that's going to really save them is Bitcoin price going up in value. And as long as Bitcoin goes up more than the Bitcoin network Bitcoin network hash rate, that's going to help them out. That might save them, but they're definitely going to need help there. Let's take a look at their revenue side of things. So last quarter, their revenue was 5.7 million. And what was their operation side of things? Total operating expense, 12.1 million. Not a good combination there, right? Especially when your revenue gets cut in half. So you're looking at 2 million something, 2.7, almost 3 million roughly. And you still have 12 million in operating expenses. That's not a good combination. Not at all. So that's going to lead to some miners possibly going out of business. I'm not saying that they are, but it could be a possibility if Bitcoin doesn't go up quite nicely here. And but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll do some numbers on all of these once we get the Q4 numbers reported on them all. Okay, and as always, you guys know that access to all of these spreadsheets is on my Patreon. That's still $5 a month. Now there's only a couple spots left, I believe, under 10 spots left for that. The link is in the description video for Patreon there. And we do have a private Discord channel as well where we talk about all these miners, MicroStrategy, Bitcoin, all this stuff, fun stuff there. Great bunch of great bunch of people there, providing a lot of insights and things like that. So it's always fun to chat in there. All right. I think that we'll leave it at that. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I think we're supposed to get maybe a yay or a nay from Gary Gensler as far as from the SEC, whether they're going to approve some of those spot Bitcoin ETFs tomorrow. If they do, we'll see what happens over the weekend. But we'll see. Okay. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Thank you to my Patreon members. Thank you to all the YouTube members. I wish you guys a great night, and I'll see you guys in the next one.